Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Last winter I did a guide with some of my best tips on how to layer up for winter and truly stay warm, all while looking chic at the same time. So this video is going to be sort of a recap of that, but more a run through of some of the winter wardrobe staples that I cannot live without in my own wardrobe. And I just thought that since I'm gonna be building my winter capsule wardrobe really soon, within a couple of weeks, I might as well give you guys a run through of some of my favorite winter staples that I'm definitely gonna include in my own winter capsule wardrobe. Some of the items that I'm about to show you today are secondhand or vintage, but really most of them are really old. So one of the items is around 7 years old now, and I just hope that this video will give you some inspiration on which items to invest in that you can love for many winters to come if you are on the hunt for a few great winter staples. For my winter capsule wardrobe this year, I can definitely say that I'm really in the mood for this, of course, like neutral color theme, but then with some pops of brown and navy in this like wonderful, lovely mix. Also really in the mood for something quite classic and clean looking, something very timeless, Scandi chic. So definitely something along those lines, but I'll reveal that in a couple of weeks time. So the first few items that I want to mention in this video is really all about the base layer of your winter outfit. So something you can't really see, but something that can be quite necessary if it gets really cold. This is one of those items that I also included in that winter layering video that I mentioned in the beginning. It is, of course, thermal underwear. This thermal underwear set that I have right here is actually not really thermal underwear. It's actually a sports set from Organic Basics, but I just happen to use it as thermal underwear, or more just like an extra layering piece underneath my normal basic everyday outfits. So if I need some extra warmth underneath my jeans or underneath my jumper, especially if I'm wearing a wool coat that's not particularly warm, I will layer up these pieces underneath my clothing, basically. So what I have here is actually, like I said, a sports set from Organic Basics. I have a pair of tights here, and then I have a long sleeve top as well. Both of these are made in recycled polyester. I actually brought this long sleeve top with me to a festival this summer as well. It's just a nice layering piece, especially underneath jumpers. No one will ever even notice that you're wearing these, so that way you can wear all of your favorite everyday wear without freezing off your butt, but still looking really, really chic, and I'm a huge fan of that. Another sort of base layer that I can't live without through the very cold winter months is a thin puffer jacket. I have one right here that I got as a gift from Everlane last year, and it's just been a lifesaver ever since, really. Like, I wear it underneath my wool coats throughout the winter season when it gets really cold. Obviously, I feel like a wool coat is not necessarily the most practical and warm jacket. It looks really chic and very classic, but when it really starts to get freezing outside, it's not always enough. Maybe if you wear the thermal underwear set underneath and then a jumper and then the wool coat, you will be alright. But if you need an extra layer of warmth when it's really freezing, I can definitely recommend a thin puffer like this. Like I said, you can layer it up underneath your wool coat and stay warm like that. Again, this is one of those pieces that people will never even know that you're wearing this, but you just look really chic and you stay warm at the same time, which is a huge bonus. This is made from recycled plastic, so it's part of the Renew range. Also use it just as a throw-on piece if I'm heading out the door, if I'm going to the gym and I don't really want to bother wearing a super big coat or anything like that. So just an all-around really great piece, especially for winter layering. So speaking of outerwear, I have two coats that I want to mention in this video. The first one is this puffer jacket that I've had for ages. If you've been following me since the very start of my channel, basically, you will already have seen this coat many times because I bring it out every single winter. And it is, of course, my down parka or down puffer jacket. I bought this around 7 or 8 years ago now, so it's going super strong. Still looks amazing. I think I mentioned last year that it is starting to look kind of like, not worn out, but you can definitely see that I've been wearing it a lot. But you know what? This coat is amazing. It still has some great seasons left in it. I've even washed it a couple of times. You can take off the hat here, which is fake fur, by the way. It's not real fur. You can zip it right off and then pop it into the washing machine, which I've done a couple of times, especially if you have a dog like me and you enjoy walking in the forest with him. It will get dirty, so it's super practical that I can actually wash this. I love this coat. It's pretty long. It has some zippers in the side here, which is super practical for when I'm riding my bicycle. Then I could just like zip them up a bit and then I can still move my legs on the bicycle. Yeah, just a really, really lovely coat. I bought it way before I even got into like supporting ethical and sustainable brands. So this is not made ethically. It's not my guess anyway. It's from a Danish brand called Minimum, I think. Yeah, Minimum. And I remember it being quite expensive, and it was like in the very beginning of me trying to, you know, buy my first really long-lasting basics for my wardrobe. So in the end, it's turned out to be sort of a sustainable purchase because I've had it for so long. I've had it for nearly 8 years now, so it's been lasting up super well. So in that sense, it's been a very sustainable and a good purchase. But if you're looking for something similar today, I would definitely recommend you to look for something that you know is ethically made. So look for something from Everlane, for example. They do puffer jackets with reused down. They also do puffer jackets in recycled plastic. There's also Arkit, who also make jackets with recycled down as well. So something similar to this, but just ethically made, would be a good option for you guys. But yeah, it's just a really lovely, great coat. It's something that I have loved for years, something I could potentially love for years, unless, of course, I get contacted by some brand who, you know, a sustainable brand who would offer me to test out one of their sustainable jackets. But really, I love this coat and I don't really see any reason to part with it. It actually says that it's water, wind and snow resistant. Really just a great all-round practical coat, really. Moving on to the next coat. This is a lovely piece that I found when I was vintage shopping for my secondhand shop some time ago. I actually put it on the shop but took it down pretty quickly because I decided I just needed to keep this baby for myself. So it is this lovely vintage wool coat. I've showed it here on my channel a couple of times. I've also featured it on my Instagram a few times. I've dedicated a whole blog post about this coat as well over on my blog. I'm not completely sure which era, but I'm guessing 80s or 90s because of some of the details that this jacket has, or this coat has. It's just so stunning, so well made. It's made in 100% wool. It's really heavy and quite statement because it has those very pointed shoulders that are definitely, you know, something that kind of tells me that this coat must be from the 90s. Beautifully made, and I just feel like I'm wearing a big hug every time I'm wearing this coat. It keeps me incredibly warm and snuggly, and it's just the perfect piece for winter. Also a very classic and timeless piece, and it just has so many lovely details. Regarding the buttons, which are also, by the way, really 90s, I can always change these if I get tired of them. So something like a really like dull gold button or something like that, I think that could like look quite cool. Maybe even something that looks kind of like tortoiseshell would look amazing on this coat as well. So that's something that you can definitely do if you have a coat that you want to amp up a bit this season. Change up the buttons or do something like that to it to update it a little bit. Like I mentioned, it does have some rather wide shoulders, so I've actually considered detaching the shoulder straps here if I get too overwhelmed by it or too tired of these very wide shoulders that it has. But at this point I just love it completely as it is. But just some ideas on how to upcycle this coat to make it look more modern. It's always nice to have some ideas like that in terms of sustainability. But yeah, I could very well wear this coat with that light puffer jacket that I mentioned in the beginning if it starts to get really freezing outside. But like I said, it keeps me really toasty, really warm, and it's just so snuggly and amazing. I love this. If you're looking for something similar, I will definitely be on the hunt for similar coats for my secondhand shop. But otherwise, check out your local thrift stores. You might be lucky to find something similar. I actually found this in a really, really small store in Kolding, which is a bigger city like 30 minutes away from me. And I found it in a secondhand shop that I've been visiting before, like just a really messy little secondhand store. They don't even have that much clothing. But this one was just hanging all lonely in the corner of that shop, and it was just perfect. I just knew I had to bring it home with me, and then in the end I decided to keep it for myself instead of putting it up on my shop, which is the danger sometimes when I'm out shopping. I find so many amazing things, and I have such a huge beating heart for secondhand fashion that sometimes I need to control myself. If you don't have any luck finding a lovely secondhand version of a coat like this, there are some great brands out there who do amazing coats. So there's Everlane that, like I mentioned before, they do coats in recycled wool. Same as with Arcade, which is a great European alternative to Everlane. They also do amazing coats in recycled wool, so definitely check those out if you're on the hunt for a new classic wool coat that you can love for many years. So let's move on to footwear. I only have one pair of boots that I want to mention in this video because obviously I have my Acne Jensen boots that I've mentioned 1,000,000 times here on my channel already. I did a video with autumn stables as well, already mentioned the boots in that video, so I thought there's no need for me to mention those in this video as well, but I wanted to mention another pair of boots that I have mentioned before because that's just a deal with my content. There's a lot of recaps and a lot of things you guys have seen many times before. But yeah, it is obviously my Dr. Martens Chelsea boots. I just gave these a nice polish this morning. I just washed them up a bit because they were looking quite dirty, so wanted to make them look nice for this video. I bought these boots secondhand, I think 3 or 4 years ago now, and I love them. They're super comfy, as I've mentioned countless times before. For me, it's kind of like wearing a pair of sneakers, but just as a boot. And Dr. Martens is pretty well known for their rubber soles, like this Airwear rubber sole that they call it. And really it is like walking on a little bit of a cloud. I can walk for miles in these. I wore them in London a couple of years ago and just wore them for hours and hours without getting sore feet whatsoever. They're kind of like that practical chic winter boot, and that's why I love them so much. They fit quite snug around the ankle, and then that round toe, comfy rubber sole, and they're just amazing. They've been holding up very well as well. Obviously you can tell that they've been used a lot. That's just a deal with clothing. It won't look new forever, but I think they still look amazing and they have that right amount of like worn out vibe to them. I know that Dr. Martens definitely also make vegan options, so if you're a vegan and you're looking for a pair of Dr. Martens boots, definitely check that out. Otherwise, going for something secondhand like I did might be a great solution for you. So the next thing I wanted to mention is to invest in a great jumper, and I have quite a few jumpers myself. I have one, the gray one that I've been featuring a lot, both on my Instagram and here on my channel, which is in the wash right now because I spilled a cup of coffee down myself the other day. So a great one is great, it's timeless, you can wear that with anything. You could even go for one in an autumn color like this one that I'm wearing today. This one is from a Danish brand called Gestus. I've had it for years now. Not sure it's available anymore, but I'll make sure to link something similar, maybe even ethically made, down below for you guys. I also have a jumper right here with a roll neck. This is actually a secondhand purchase and one of my oldest secondhand purchases in my wardrobe. I think I've had this for 7 years, I think, and I picked this up in a random secondhand store in Aarhus when we used to live there some years ago. I'm not even sure what it's made of actually, but I'm guessing some sort of wool mix. It looks really nice, apart from the fact that it's starting to get some little holes. It's starting to tear a bit at the cuff here as well because I've just been wearing it so much. So I might need to see if I can do something about those. Just because I've been wearing it so much, I love it, especially for winter because it has this roll neck. So just something to keep my neck extra warm throughout the cold winter months, especially if I'm not in the mood for wearing a scarf or something like that. Looks amazing underneath a wool coat. Works great underneath that down parka as well. I actually just ordered a organic cotton jumper similar to this one from a sustainable brand called Armed Angels. Also a roll neck jumper. It's just because, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, for my winter capsule this year, I'm really keen on bringing some more like brown and navy elements into my very monochrome wardrobe. I just love that whole color theme, so really excited about that, and I will be sharing more about that in my winter capsule video very soon. But in general, a great jumper, whether that being a crew neck like I'm wearing today or a roll neck like this one to keep yourself extra warm around the neck, is just a great investment piece and something that you can love for many winters to come. Another thing that I just quickly want to mention investing in when speaking knitwear is a great cashmere comb. So I have this little cashmere comb here. This one is from Navy Grey, which is the same brand as my gray jumper because I got this one as a gift together with that gray jumper. And what it does is actually that it can remove like bubbles on any knitwear, so you just kind of like brush the surface really gently like this. And then you can remove the bubbles like that and make the surface look really nice and smooth. The thing with natural wool is, especially if it's a completely new wool piece, it will create some bubbles, especially in the beginning. So you need to sort of like brush it, maybe even wash it a couple of times. And then eventually the knitwear will stop pilling as much as it does in the beginning, like almost completely stop creating these little bubbles. So that's sort of just the deal with knitwear, and that's just something you have to kind of get past. And there's just a little more maintenance in knitwear like that. At the same time, you get something you can love for many years and something that surely keeps you warm all throughout winter. Just make sure that when you do want to buy something that is made out of wool, that you choose to support brands that collect the wool ethically, so that you're sure that no animals were harmed in making this piece of garment. Otherwise, you can always see if you can find something secondhand instead. Also, another thing that I wanted to mention regarding wool jumpers is that obviously they are a bit, again, high maintenance and can be kind of hard to look after because you can't just pop them into the washing machine. If you buy cotton, you definitely can, but with wool, you can't really just like pop that into the washing machine with all of your other bits and bobs. Personally, I don't even wash my wool jumpers that often. I might wash a wool jumper 2 to 3 times through an entire year, unless it's dirty and unless I spill coffee down myself. But wool is actually said to be self-cleaning, so often it's enough to just hang it out in fresh air, hang it in the bathroom while you're showering, maybe even give it a steam with your steamer if you have one of those. Like I mentioned, it's supposed to be like self-cleaning, so you don't always need to pop it into the washing machine. Sometimes it can be good though to sort of like gather the fabric back together, if that makes sense, especially if you like wear your sleeves like I do today. Sometimes it can get kind of like sloppy, so if you want to sort of like make it fit tight again, you can pop it into the washing machine on a really gentle wool program on like 20 degrees or something like that. Maybe even wash it by hand if you don't have a gentle wool program on your washing machine like that. But yeah, let's move on. I just wanted to give you guys some tips on how to handle knitwear real quick, and also just some general tips on how to get your hands on ethically made knitwear. Right, so the final piece that I wanted to mention in today's video is more sort of like a category, so really more in the accessories category, winter accessories in particular. And I've mentioned this so many times that I'm not going to be speaking so much about it, but it's my gray wool scarf. I also have it in camel, like this lovely camel color. Cannot live without this through autumn and winter, really all throughout the year. So I just wanted to share some thoughts on investing in great timeless winter accessories, really. So a lovely soft woolen scarf is definitely one thing that you could invest in. This is so super soft, not scratchy at all. I know that Arcade makes scarf pretty similar to this one. Everlane does as well. So if you're looking for something ethically made, definitely check out one of these two brands. Obviously, there's also something like a cool beanie to maybe match the color of your scarf, or a pair of mittens or gloves maybe. So I think that's it for this video, guys. That are some of my favorite winter staples. I'm gonna be linking some ethically made alternatives to these that I've showed you in this video down below of this video. So if you're on the hunt for a new winter wardrobe staple that you can love for years, and definitely check out the description box down below. Most of these items that I've showed you today are either secondhand, vintage, or just older, so they're not really available anymore. So that's why I'm gonna be on the hunt for something similar for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to share my winter capsule wardrobe with you guys. I hope that this gave you an image of kind of the vibe that I'm going for, and also just some of the items that I bring out basically every single winter season. And then I'll get back to you with the whole color theme for my winter capsule and the whole like outlook of the whole thing. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel before you leave, and make sure to follow me over on Instagram for daily outfit updates as well. Take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.